Welcome back to Newsmaker Live, and thank you very much for staying tuned to this program. We're discussing men's issues, and just to encourage you men out there to go out on Sunday for the men's march, starting at the VG Multipurpose Complex and going all the way to Marsha, the Minder Phillip Park, where you have a rally taking place. And we're discussing that program here on Newsmaker Live with the chairman of the International Men's Day Planning Committee, Elliot, and Ron Peter of Gender Relations. He's the research officer there. The program now, what does the program look like? Not only for Sunday, but for the week of activities, because you have a packed program from what I understand.
Yeah, well actually our flagship event is the Lucian Men March on Sunday. We will march from VG and we'll go down to VG Minder Phillip Park, where we'll have a grand rally, like Al said earlier, where we'll have our keynote speakers and some performers and so on. We'll have some men to give testimonies, and it will be a nice event for men to show up for this event.
Starts at 1.
Starts at 1 p.m. We also, at our division, we have an open house and an exhibition. We want to feature outstanding men in St. Lucia. Although, you know, much has been said about men, and men are not taking up the role, but, you know, throughout, there are men among our midst who are outstanding, and we like to feature them. So you could come to our office on November 19th, and there we'll have displayed on our walls posters of outstanding men in St. Lucia. Mm-hmm. We also have, like you mentioned, we mentioned earlier, the Health Outreach Island-wide, where we'll have information and screening throughout the island. You know, primary health care services will be providing those services. Mm-hmm. Also, like Tapion is like you said earlier. We also we're having a program. Well, actually, our program will culminate with an annual remembrance ceremony of deceased victims of gender-based violence at Serenity Park. That will be on the 26th, Monday, at San Souci. Mm-hmm. So these are the programs that we are planning, and also we also win the support for Street for a Cause, which will be held at the Sandals Grand.
Street for a Cause?
Street for a Cause,
okay.
Yeah, which will be held at Sandals Grand, where we're trying to raise, they're trying to raise Ministry of Health and some other organizations are trying to raise some funds for prostitutes.
Sorry, I heard the wrong thing, and I was wondering, you know, where are we heading with that?
we also have on Wednesday, the 21st, a session at the Boys Training Center called Man Talk. Man Talk is going to be a discussion with some young males, young influential males from our society, who are going to be leading the discussion with the boys on men and boys issues, primarily issues that affect the boys at BTC. I'm proud to announce that we have Timothy Ferdinand from the president of the National Youth Council will be on that panel. We also have Darwin Edwards, our local high jumper, Olympian. He will also be on that panel. And we have as well Mr. Elijah Anatole of Choice News fame. He's also written a book. He too will be on that panel. So we have a nice little panel for the boys at Boys Training Center. I know that they're excited that we're coming, and we want to be able to dialogue with them, discuss their issues, and give them advice and share some of our experiences with them as well.
Now, I want to go back to sustainability. Now, that's a one-time event for now because it's International Men's Day, and there's a program surrounding that. But again, are there any plans to continue this program? Because what these young men need more than anything else are mentors.
Yes.
You know, role models to look up to, so that, you know, they can pattern or model their lives after. A lot of them don't have father figures or did not have father figures in their lives, and that is why a major contributing factor for them being where they are at Boys Training Center. What's the plan like following the week?
I must mention that, and I mentioned earlier that we have some partnership groups. One of our strong partners, I must mention, is the Big Brothers and Sisters of St. Lucia. In fact, it's really through them that we got into the doors of Boys Training Center. The Big Brothers is a mentorship group that has been doing quite a lot of work, primarily with BTC, but with mentorship in general. And the idea is and it goes back, takes me back to my Carry Man initiative. The Carry Man initiative is to use these organizations, partner with these organizations on issues that pertain to policy, Carry Man policy. So we have been, for example, working with Big Brothers, we've been working with RISE, and as much as these other organizations can put forward programs for sustainability with masculinities, we would want to partner with, we would want to facilitate these programs. So, there is a broader picture. It takes work, it takes men, it takes hands to get involved. And we also will be calling at the rally and the march, we will be calling on men to get more involved, to sign up, to get involved, to find out who they can partner with, what interests that you may have, whether it's sporting, whether it's in mentoring, whether it's in educational research, So the call is going out to men, and we hope that, again, the momentum would lead to some serious work in sustaining the efforts throughout the years.
Now, from my observation, and being involved in a few groups myself, I have noticed that there are a number of splinter groups, small groups all over the place, doing pretty much the same thing. What can be done to bring these groups together to have a powerful force that can actually move and shake St. Lucia, that can, cause things to happen at a greater pace than they're happening right now, that would cause young men to gravitate towards those groups because they see potential and they see avenues for development, opportunities for growth, employment. And employment is a big thing that young men talk about. When I go into the inner city, question is, how you have a job for me? What work can I do? If you're not coming with work, then why are you coming? That kind of thing. So from your experience and your vantage point, what can be done to merge those groups so that there's greater collaboration and not just, I don't want to patronize, but I mean, in some cases, piecemeal partnerships where you come together for an event and that's it. There's no collaboration thereafter.
I think perhaps we need to look at a broader approach in terms of our national pride, our nationalism, what it is that we are each trying to achieve with our own groups. We have tried to involve as many of those groups as possible primarily for Sunday's rally. And so we've invited the uniform groups, we've invited bus drivers, you've heard of various different organizations that we tried to invite. But I think what really brings it all together, or ought to bring it all together, is our sense of national pride, our sense of who we are. And if we identify as St. Lucians, then that is the only commonality that we have. Men, women, religious, non-religious, sports, the one identity that we share is being St. Lucian. And so that is a much broader picture that it goes deeper than just volunteering your time. There needs to be, I think, a greater sense of who we are as a people.
And in terms of reaching those young men and older men from the inner city, what approaches have been taken by the group so far to do that, if any?
Well, we haven't actually done any. Well, actually, what we have done, we've worked with different STOs, social transformation officers, within the community, because these are the people who are on the ground, and these are the people who are aware of the situation on the ground. And we are working closely with them to try and target, especially, well, not only in the inner city, but also the rural community as well, so that we could be able to spread the word around and let the men know what is happening. That's hence the reason, like Al said, we're working with not only, we're working with various organizations, to be able to reach as much men as possible. And I think it's going pretty well. Not only with STOs, but also the individual councils at the community level, church groups. We've been working with quite a few organizations, and I find that we are working very well together. Yeah.
Of course, the theme for International Men's Day is helping men and boys live longer, healthier, and happier lives. And I was just searching for the information for Tapio. They have a program, I guess a sub-theme or a theme that is related to that. And there's this country in crisis, resourceful, committed, strong male role models needed. And you know, we have been talking about that, you know, role models being needed because the father figures are gone. You know, when before you could look up to someone and say, okay, this guy has inspired me, or this man has inspired me, or when I grew up I want to be like him. The kind of models that we see right now, and you mentioned Cartel earlier on. I mean, Cartel is one of the major models that we have. However, I would not want my son modeling after Cartel or any of those dancehall artists or some of those more prominent figures we have in our society. So how do we break away and say, okay, this might not be the model you want to follow? How do you tell youth that? How do you tell children that when we see those images in our face all the time, when we see that, you know, whatever our media portrays is reflective of that kind of lifestyle and those values?
Well, I believe one of the key, I mean, you are in media, and I think that's one of the areas that we are feeling, you know. We are feeling in the kind of broadcast that probably we are given, and the kind of emphasis that we put on this sort of things. Hence the reason for our International Men's Day, we are going to award someone, and maybe we're hoping that a lot of men may probably model after him, you know, because we realize we have to, we're in a battle. We are battling for our young people. Sometimes, you know, we as a governmental agency, we look for the social benefits and so on for our young people, but maybe a private sector is all commercial gain for them, you know. So here we are, we're trying our best. Hence the reason why we are promoting certain men who've been outstanding throughout St. Lucia, and we want to show them. But yes, it's a challenge, you know. It's a challenge because I mean, like you say, it's private sector versus government agency. I mean, it's a profit against, you know, just social benefits, you know, and it's something that we really have to fight for. And maybe the media should be involved, you know, in letting our young people, you know, or guiding our young people towards a better future. You know, I feel that that's one of the reasons that we are doing pretty bad down here.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to highlight the good. There is some good among us. We intend to do so come Sunday. We're pleased to have someone that we can identify as a model that we think a model for St. Lucians to follow, not just St. Lucian males, but St. Lucians on the whole. So we need to identify the good a little bit more. I mean, you're always going to have good and bad, and people fall. But we need to, you know, not just highlight the negative, also highlight the positive, and even in those who have fallen.
Yeah, I hope you have done the background checks, because you know, if you're going to bring portrayers there, then I mean that would be a major black eye for for that promotion.
I think St. Lucians will be very pleased with the person we award this year.
Wonderful. So we'll discuss that a little bit more. You're watching Newsmaker Live on DBS. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls. We're discussing men's issues and International Men's Day with the chairman of the planning committee, Elliot, and Rohn Peter, who is a research officer in the Department of Gender Relations, Ministry of Health and Gender Relations. Stay with us. We'll continue with your calls right after this break.